With President Trump's second term looking like it's very much focused on draining the deep state swamp in America, as Trump promised, it's incredible to see all the Americans who understand the existence of this deep state and the need for President Trump to drain it. Which is why President Trump has the support to take action to restore justice and accountability in the U.S., and it's very much long overdue, and we wish him the best of luck. It's not simple. I've spoken about this a lot. Israel, too, has its own deep state, and it's been running the show here in Israel for decades as well. People like Moshe Feiglin, Erez Tadmor, who actually wrote a book about the deep state, and many others have been warning about this for years, how Israel's deep state is held together by an overreaching and politicized justice system that doesn't allow Netanyahu or any of his right-wing governments to implement the right-wing policies they were voted in for. For far too long, we have been ruled by unelected elites, career government employees, who manipulate the system to ensure that left-wing policies dominate regardless of what the Israeli public actually votes for in continuous elections. The biggest frustration for right-wing voters in Israel is that Netanyahu never took the steps to drain the swamp in Israel, in the justice system, in the security establishment. But they don't understand that he was really never able to. His government can't even fire the Attorney General, who has been working against the government since day one, not acting as a lawyer for the government, but as a lawyer against Netanyahu and his government. Because even if Netanyahu would fire her, the Supreme Court would overturn it. That is the power of the deep state and the politicized justice system, including the Supreme Court in Israel, that is everything but just. It's politicized. Thankfully, ever since the beginning of this war, which is horrendous, more and more Israelis are waking up to this reality of a deep state behind it all. Powerful voices like Irit Linor, Gadi Taub, and Moshe Cohen Eliah, all of whom were once ideological leftists, all are waking up to the danger of the left and the deep state and are now exposing the dangers of that deep state and our unjust justice system. Almost daily, they are calling out the deep state and shining a light on its undemocratic practices. And they are from that world. They used to believe in it and support it. Why since the beginning of this war? Because so many issues connected to October 7th and the war have highlighted a justice system and a deep state that is partly to blame for the horrendous rules of engagement that led to October 7th, as well as the justice system opening cases against many unbelievable, brave, holy Israelis, including IDF soldiers who risked their lives to fight and save other lives on October 7th, while at the same time the justice system is covering up all the details of an alleged spy case that took place on October 7th. And they're also allegedly produced a fabricated video and leaked it to the media that portrayed IDF soldiers as rapists of a Hamas terrorist in jail. A blood libel that was then shown to billions all over the world, instigated allegedly by the justice system. To this day, almost half a year later, the justice system has still not investigated who in the justice system was responsible for fabricating that horrendous blood libelous video and leaking it to the media that did tremendous diplomatic damage to Israel in the middle of our very just war against the despicable and barbaric Islamo-Nazi enemy. These are only a small list of issues that little by little are exposing the politicization of the justice system and waking up more Israelis to the need for true judicial reform to rid Israel of the problems in the justice system and a very damaging deep state that works against the interest of Israel and the Israeli people. This is why I've been such a strong supporter of judicial reform for decades. If we do not fix Israel's broken justice system, politicized justice system, we won't have true democracy or real justice for Israelis. And we will never be able to implement the policies that we vote for to ensure that we can protect ourselves from our enemies and ensure that Israel remains a proud, strong, Jewish state. Because of both of those things go against the agenda of the deep state, because they want to ensure that Israel remains weak, a satellite state of the world, and not strongly Jewish. Let me give you a recent example of how broken and hypocritical Israel's justice system truly is. Watch this news item.
עוד על שרשרת ההסתבכויות של השופט יצחק עמית, שמתמודד לנשיאות העליון, בין היתר באשר לפרשות החריגת בנייה שיש בביתו. פרסו המון תגובות נזעמות ברשת, ובינתיים גם מתחילה להיות התקהלות סביב ביתו במחאה על כך שהוא עדיין מציב את שמו בדרך לעליון. בואו רגע נשמע את הקולות משם.
יצחק עמית ניגוד עניינים! יצחק עמית ניגוד עניינים! יצחק עמית ניגוד עניינים! את החשדות נגדך צריך לברר עד הסוף! לא למסמס, צריך לפתוח בחקירה כמו שצריך! ובמידה ותהיה אשם, אתה לא יכול להיות שופט בכלל! כל שכן לנשיא בית המשפט העליון! יצחק עמית צריך להיבדק, להיחקר, לא רק על עבירות הבנייה שהוא לכאורה ביצע בבית שלו, בעצמו!
כן, אז אלה הקולות אל מול ביתו של השופט יצחק עמית. כאמור, הוא מועמד לכהן כנשיא בית המשפט העליון. הוא ממשיך לעורר סערה ציבורית בעקבות הפרסום כאן בחדשות 14 על עבירות בנייה לכאורה.
So what's going on? Right now in Israel, we're facing an outrageous scandal involving Supreme Court Justice Yitzhak Amit, who is set to become the next president of Israel's Supreme Court. There are serious allegations against him that disqualify him from even being a judge, let alone president of the Supreme Court. Yet the justice system, the attorney general, and the political left and the establishment media are all silent about this alleged corruption that should stop him from becoming a president of the Supreme Court. And they want him to be instated as Supreme Court president immediately without any investigations into the allegations. Their silence is deafening. Here's what's happening. Israel's Justice Minister, Yariv Levin, has called on Supreme Court Justice Yitzhak Amit to suspend his candidacy for the Supreme Court presidency due to the serious allegations of conflicts of interest and other cases that have been exposed about him over the years. According to reports, Amit presided over cases involving his own brother's board of director position and over legal proceedings concerning an apartment that he jointly owns with his brother. He didn't even disclose those conflicts to the court, which is a blatant violation of judicial ethics. But it doesn't stop there. Supreme Court Justice Amit also reportedly violated building laws concerning a house he owns near Jerusalem. And here's the kicker. In other legal cases involving a property he owns in Tel Aviv, he used his former last name, why he has a former last name I have no clue, Goldfried, to conceal his identity as a Supreme Court judge. Even the lawyers representing him didn't know who they were working for. They didn't know they were representing a Supreme Court judge. And Israelis cannot say that this is a right-wing agenda against Amit. Why? An anti-Netanyahu publication, Ynet, in addition to other media outlets, were the ones that have revealed multiple instances where Amit presided over cases that he had a direct conflict of interest, something that is totally immoral and unacceptable for any judge. This is not just unethical, it's fraudulent. And yes, one of these investigations was published by Ynet, not a right-wing Netanyahu publication. MK Tali Gottlieb from Likud summed it up perfectly, and I quote, Yitzhak Amit should not only be disqualified from becoming the president of the Supreme Court, but he is unfit to serve as a magistrate's court judge, end quote. What's happening now? Well, the police refuse to investigate Supreme Court justice. The police and the Attorney General claim there's insufficient evidence to investigate Justice Amit. Seriously? This is the same justice system that goes after elected officials on the right with trumped-up charges in order to stop them from getting their positions. But when it comes to one of their own, they sweep the allegations under the rug. It shouldn't even be investigated. Now, be honest. If you knew that judges and attorney generals have one law for the general public, but then do not apply the law to themselves, if you were a police officer, would you want to investigate them? No, because you're dealing with a mafia, not with a justice system. This is exactly why judicial reform is so critical. from the top, all the way to the top, the Supreme Court. The deep state protects its own and ensures that the same elites remain in power, no matter how corrupt or unethical they are, and the police won't do anything about it. It's a system designed to perpetuate itself, not to serve justice or the Israeli people. Now understand, this isn't just about one judge or one scandal. This is about the future of Israel as a democratic and just society. This politicized justice system is at the heart of Israel's deep state. And if we don't fix it, we'll continue to see left-wing policies forced upon us, even when the public votes for white right-wing governments and leadership. Israel's deep state is the ultimate reason that we have a neutered senior IDF intelligence command who are unable to win a just and existential war to properly protect us. We're 15 months into a war we should have won in a few weeks. They are the reason Israel doesn't give the death penalty to terrorists, because they would always stop us from doing it, the justice system. They are the reason that Jew-hating Muslim politicians serve in Israel's parliament, even though it goes against Israeli law. How does that happen? Because the Supreme Court always lets them serve in the Knesset, ignoring the law. Because it's not about a law. It's about their ideology. They are the reason the justice system at Israel is always destroying Jewish homes in Judea and Samaria and hardly destroying illegal Arab homes in Judea and Samaria. It's the justice system that is the reason that we have had to endure disastrous security policies like the Oslo peace process and face constant international pressure to make concessions that endanger our lives and security. As former Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin himself said back in 1993, and he's quoted in this article that was written in 2023, titled "How 10 Weeks of Protests Finally Exposed the Underlying Truths in Israeli Politics," that had to do with the judicial reform protests. Yitzhak Rabin said the following quote. He was the Prime Minister of peace. What did he say? He coined the term, and I quote, "without the High Court and human rights group, B'Tselem," when he signed the Oslo Accords. He was saying that he couldn't fight the terrorists because of Israel's Supreme Court, together with left-wing NGOs like B'Tselem. They stopped Prime Minister Rabin from being able to stop the terrorists who were killing Jews. This is back in the early 1990s. So Rabin believed that allowing the creation of a Palestinian Authority to rule in Judea and Samaria and Gaza, that they would kill the terrorists and fight them for us and give us, Israelis, security. Can you believe the insanity of it all? It's because the Supreme Court of Israel did not allow him to protect us. And we have been in this horrendous security situation since the 1993 Oslo Accords because of the immoral Supreme Court that wouldn't let us protect our lives. Before 1993, our Islamo-Nazi enemies only had knives. But thanks to the Oslo Accords, Israel gave them our land, guns, and today the Palestinian Authority has a US-trained security forces, and Hamas has had rockets. This is all the initial fault of Israel's Supreme Court and justice system. This has to stop. Now. It's time for Israelis and our allies around the world, because this impacts you. You have deep states in your countries too, to demand accountability. Just like President Trump is taking on the deep state in America, we need leaders in Israel who will stand up to our deep state and restore justice and democracy here, not allowing the Supreme Court to rule the country. And to our friends in the US, we need you to understand that Israel's battle is your battle too. Every time Israel is forced to appease our Islamo-Nazi enemies, that they also want to destroy America, it emboldens those same Islamo-Nazi forces that threaten freedom-loving people everywhere, including in America. We must rely on ourselves to raise awareness for all of these issues, rely on God above, and work together with our allies to expose and dismantle the systems, the deep state systems that allow this corruption to thrive. We are almost there in Israel as they continue to expose themselves. But we're obviously not there yet, where Netanyahu believes he has enough support of the nation to really take on the justice system head on, fire who needs to be fired, replace them. With each day, we are getting closer, but we are not there yet. This latest expose about the potential Supreme Court President, Yitzhak Amit, is definitely waking up a lot more people. Obviously, it's much harder since the whole establishment media still brainwashes a nice percentage of the people. But together we can ensure that Israel remains the strong, democratic, and moral nation it was meant to be by speaking the truth and sharing the truth. Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to share this video so more people can better understand the situation in Israel today and what's at stake. Thank you for watching, and if you're not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth, Pulse of Israel videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. Where else do you receive information like this? And we are a donor-based organization. We need your support. Heavily censored and shadow banned across all social media platforms. It's thanks to your donations, large and small, that we're able to get our videos seen. We want to reach more people. We want to wake up more people. We want to help Israel and our whole freedom-loving world embrace this redemption process we're going through and be inspired. Though that's where your money goes, to help us get our videos seen by more people and make a bigger impact. So every once in a while, go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button. In the meantime, shalom everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.